Today I'm going to be using a more condensed format of my 7-point review. This is a comparison between the PD32 and the Fenix PD35, and I will also be mentioning the Fenix PD32 Ultimate Edition. The PD35 is more of an evolution. It's not revolutionary when comparing to the PD32. Both lights still have the same features, and for flux output are practically the most compact options out there. The standard PD32 with the 340 lumens, I would say, is outpowered and old tech. But the body frame, the more compact size, and in combination with the new Ultimate Edition 740 output, has some advantages like being more compact and lighter weight. Also, it has a narrower beam, which I will discuss shortly. Right now, 840 lumens is really hyping up the Fenix PD35. And that's largely due, in my opinion, not to Fenix intentionally trying, but because they have such a brand presence, especially with their quality AA, AAA flashlights. In most average outdoor stores, you're going to see Fenix next to other competitors, and they are above average, better than those. But they're also active in social media. They even send products out to be reviewed. I personally did not receive these lights for review, but I've purchased on my own a total now of 4 PD35s, 2 of which I've given to friends. The PD35 is larger by about 5/8 of an inch. It's also slightly thicker, and it is heavier, and it feels significantly so. Both still pack in a lot of CNC features, like a traction in the middle portion, if you want to hold it in a tactical grip. An alternative to having perhaps a tactical ring or even an aggressive sort of body like that. They also have anti-roll kind of built in, so some form of preventing it from constantly rolling. And they also have, of course, that great pocket clip that when stressed to the point that this part would bend, the actual prongs release a little bit, so it allows even more further range of motion and a lot of tension. So it's one of the best pocket clips out there. Only the PD32 has the crenulated bezel, or scalloped, which maybe traditionally was that if it was on and laying down you could see, but now it has become maybe something more of a striking point. It isn't very aggressive, it's not designed that way, but it is more noticeably painful than the PD35. So that is actually a nice feature. Nothing like maybe a dedicated bezel like that, which is extremely, effective. Both have the guarded tail cap, which help prevent the accidental actuation of the button, perhaps if it's in your gear. There is the Nightcore P12 that's out there, that even though it has the same feature, it can still be stood up. And to be honest, I think Fenix just missed that concept. Both have the same slick kind of black coating that doesn't really provide any traction, but is common on all the Fenix products, as opposed to something that's powder coated like these, which has some traction. So now looking at some features that we usually see on more high-end specialty lights. The first thing is the PD35 here on the right does have a stouter frame. As you can see, there is more thickness going around the actual lens. So if you do drop it, there's less chance of the frame deforming and crushing the little lens. And if you watch my video of the Fenix LD22 versus the Core, you can see that happen. But regardless, both still only have a smooth, flat lens. Neither is a solid piece, and I can show this. Like that. Where it's continuously it's filled in. So this type of lens here will only chip, it won't shatter. But regardless, through my experience of owning multiple Fenix products and also using the Fenix as a training tool for impacts, I feel the durability of Fenix is reliable. But again, these lights are not potted. I mean the electronics. I show this again too. Potted means that the internals are filled with some type of epoxy. So there is no like hollow space. There is no place for any components to dislodge or to shift, and this also makes it waterproof completely. So the impact resistance on these lights is rated at 1 meter, which is about 3.28 feet. So that's saying if you're standing, you drop it, okay. If it's flung at a wall, then it's no longer guaranteed. And then this shifts to the waterproof rating, which is IPX8, which says 2 meters or 6.5 feet for both lights. So at least they are waterproof and submergible, which a lot of brands and stores like Home Depot, Target, Mag Lights, even some big names, they aren't. But that is the bare minimum. Again, now in terms of specialty for comparison, here on the Army Tech, this is rated at 50 meters or 164 feet, and with double O-rings, and then obviously also a stronger lens. You can see there's 2 O-rings on every single spot. Now, neither light also have an anti-reflective coating. Usually a feature more reserved for high-end electronics or cameras, and that helps project the light and also help the light not reflect on its own lens inside the body. So basically you end up with more clear light, and for whatever lumen output you have, it will be more intense. So you can see there's a slight green hue. Let me see if I can show this on camera. You see the Army Tech has a slight hue to it. This is just plain clear. Fenix does offer colored caps, so if you want to use them for hunting, you do have those options. Now both of these lights have a large spill, which makes them more for utility. If you can tell here, the spill is obviously how far this outer section goes. The hot spot is down the middle, that central circle. And the PD35 here has the widest hotspot among, for example, all the lights just shown here. And I'm estimating, since it's not listed, that's around 15 degrees for the hotspot, and then about 50 to 60 for the actual spill. So it's intense at high mode, but you can still use it up close because it is kind of a dispersed light. It provides lighting for the general area. The PD32 has a more focused hotspot than the PD35. It's likely 10 degrees for the hotspot and 40 degrees for the actual spill. And I say that because that's the listed specs for the Army Tech, and they're quite identical. So roughly at 15 feet distance, I would say the hotspot, the main area you're lighting up, is about 15 feet in diameter. The PD35 on the right, you can see how much wider the beam is. Now previously I had made a video testing how many lumens is necessary if you want to use a light as a deterrent or a tool in your continuum of force. I can provide more insight with this review. 840 lumens of the PD35 is the minimum, and depending on the ambient light levels and the determination of the person or even the animals, can overcome it. Purchasing the Alzetta, which is right now at 900 lumens, but it has a very focused beam. It's about 5 degrees for the hot spot, I would say, and maybe 10 for the spill. It's a tremendous difference when you look into it. Let me see here. Here's a comparison between these two. I mean, look how narrow the Alzetta is. And also with the Army Tech, this has 2 CR123 batteries in it, so 3 volts only. Even though it has slightly less flux, it's listed at 1010, but in testing of independent testing, it shows somewhere probably around 770. I can say that it is more bright. It does go further, and that could be due to the fact that it has a narrow beam angle, but also it's more crisp. The light comes out more clear because of that AR lens. The Army Tech effectively blinds, and the P35 among these 3 lights, that kind of provides a reference point for me and also you viewers. It does make a difference when the beam is more focused, like a smaller angle, more of the light shining directly in one spot. And also if you have a flashlight that has anti-reflective lens, that also makes a difference. And we're looking at 840, 900, possibly 770, and still both of these have proven to be far more effective in blinding than the PD35. So with the PD32, I think to kind of supplement the lower flux, and I'm only referring right now to the Ultimate Edition with the 740 lumens, I think they used a narrower beam to produce more distance and blind power, which I would say then between these two lights, they're equal. Either light will deter someone at 5 to 20 feet, I'd say effectively, but just at that bare minimum. The standard right now, which I have, the 340, is not powerful enough. Both lights have multiple modes. I think most of us are now familiar with the button style that Fenix uses. I think that was a smart move for them. I never really liked the twist style, especially since silicone O-rings don't have very good wear resistance. So you're always constantly having to replace those. If it's a concern about waterproofness, then this is a better method. But it does require two hands. Typically, if this is how you pull out of your pocket, if it is pre-positioned to where you can use your pinky, that's great. But if it's not, a lot of times you see people have to then switch and then actuate it this way. I do prefer the tail cap method, where you can just half click and then just lock it in. I find that user interface better. And lastly, neither have any specialty operating methods, like a remote slide or even a silent on. They both, of course, have the half click, so that's common among Fenix products. But that's tactical, but they don't have the silent click. Like that's always, and it's quite audible, especially on the PD32. You can do it the ghetto way of like perhaps unscrewing it slightly and leaving it on and then just twisting it. But then unfortunately the O-rings are placed all the way at the end. They're not inset deep into the body. So for example on the Azeta, the O-ring starts all the way back here and this thing screws all the way down. So if you guys have watched my videos, I appreciate the subscribers that have on emergency kit preparation. And in those videos I discuss roll. Meaning like depending on your skills, like what you are actually capable of doing if you're realistic with yourself, and what you're intending this piece of gear to do, what pressure, what sort of requirements and demands you're placing upon your individual pieces of gear. In this case, we're talking about flashlights. Now earlier I had said that one of the advantages to having the PD32 Ultimate Edition is that it's more compact. And to clarify, imagine you were an investigator working in rooms that were 15 to 20 square feet. And you weren't like a security guard concerned about physical engagement, then the PD32 feels much less intrusive. In pocket, in use, it doesn't make its presence known, and it just kind of is there, it lets you do your job. And with the Ultimate Edition, you can still surprise someone for a brief moment and catch them off guard with the narrow focused 740 lumen beam. The PD35 is for enthusiasts, because you're getting a little taste of all the features of high performance specialty flashlights out there. The lens, it's not solid like on the Azeta, so it's not bulletproof, and the AR coating doesn't have that. And it's not very focused beam, but you're getting 840 lumens, which is comparable to these. The internals are not potted, meaning, if it's raining and you're searching, or you're on a kayak, your hands are wet, you have nothing dry on you, you can't switch the batteries if they die. Nothing inside can get wet. But you are still getting the standard IPX rating. Waterproof, you got 2 meters, 6.5 feet, and impact resistance, you have 3 feet, or 1 meter. So it's good enough for regular EDC, but not for emergency or extreme situations like search and rescue. So final points, I am a happy customer. I like both these products. I'm keeping them. If someone wants to buy them off me, like a friend or something needs one, I probably would let go of them. I am leaning more towards the PD32 Ultimate Edition, just because of the features I've discussed. Both are still some of the most compact options available. I mean, there is that Nightcore P12 out there, but I can't say about the durability necessarily of that one. And you can see, I mean, you want that kind of output. Some of the other competitors, the size difference. Now, do I EDC or put these in my kits? That you're going to have to wait for my review comparing these 3 lights, not the 32, but now the P35, the Army Tech Viking, not the Pro version, and the Azeta Charlie or Bravo. So as always, if you need to contact me, feel free to email me at NeptuneKnives@gmail.com. Look forward to more of these new hybrid format reviews and also more tactical discussions. And I have a new video coming up showing my personal emergency first aid kit. It's been updated and it has some of the newest safety and first aid technology available. I think it's very interesting.